afternoon. It's afternoon. We're filming this. My name is Herb Fisher, and I was born with a disease. That disease is that I have to collect something. And over the years, I've collected pennants, coins, license plates, and of course, you can see that I was addicted with a flag collection. So I want to share it with you today, and I'm just thrilled to share it with you today. This is my first time in having anybody look at these flags. So I would like to preface by saying that over here is my wife. She's probably off camera. She'll be assisting me. But I have many friends throughout the world, and I have connections to collect foreign flags as well as the United States flags. Later on in my talk, I will be discussing the United States flags. But I want to show you two flags that I have in my foreign collection that show you the wide range and the wide opinion of national people that have their flags. And I was presented with this flag, which is the flag of Armenia, which is a very high-level flag, and this is the coat of arms of Armenia. And if you look very carefully, there is a picture of Mount Ararat. Biblically, it is where the Noah's Ark came to rest. And up until 1991, the Ark was not pictured on their flag because they were a communist entity until they got their freedom in 1991, and they immediately put the Ark on top of, and I don't know how well you can see this, but on top of Mount Ararat. And that is a high quality, this is a governmental flag that is made with good workmanship, and this is all embroidered, and you can feel it, and it just feels wonderful. Now, let me take you to the other end of international flags. And I don't know whether you look at this and recognize it, but it's the flag of Ireland. And it is a dish towel. Now, can you imagine doing your dishes with an American flag, but yet the people in Ireland think that it's no problem in washing their dishes with their national flag? So we have a high-level flag, and we have a dish towel. Now, I'd like to switch over to this picture, and this is where the part of the program about the American flags begins. This is a picture of Betsy Ross. I think it's a familiar picture to many. And we have three gentlemen here. We have Robert Morris, who was probably the richest man in the colonies. We have George Washington, who was at that time leading the U.S. forces in our Revolutionary War. And we have George Ross, who was the uncle of Betsy Ross. This is uncle, this is niece. And he is from Lancaster because he set up his legal practice here, but I think if you look him up, you'll find also he has a Philadelphia connection. And they came because General Washington needed a flag to wave as the troops were going to and from the battles with the British. And that is when they suggested Betsy Ross, who was an upholsterer at the time, to make a flag. And so the end result was that they had a flag that looks just like this one, but this is a modern flag, and it's not high quality, but it has the 13 stars up here, and it's printed. That's like, it just grates at me because of the quality of some of these other flags. But this is a replica of the original Betsy Ross flag. So, I also want to show you an early flag that was not adopted. And this is called the Bennington flag. And if you look at that flag, you'll notice there's just something different about it. And I would wager that you've overlooked what is different. But the first stripe up here is white. And all the rest of the flags are red. So they flipped the colors when they were making this early flag of our nation. So, watch out for the red stripes as we go through this. This is the first time that I've had the opportunity to display these flags to an audience, and I hope you enjoy them as much as I do. And what I want to do is to show you some. One of them is that when a soldier dies and is given a military funeral, they are presented with an American Legion flag. And I got this off of eBay, and I have never opened it, and I've never unfurled it, but the very fact that the bereaved people, whether it was 2 generations, 3 generations ago or whatever, but didn't think enough of it to not put it on eBay. So, so much for that. I have a stack of flags here, which I'll be showing you, but I want to show you something that they decorate with halls. And this is a 30-star bunting. And if you see that it is not just a little star, it is 30 feet long. And it's usually hung from a tree or a wire over a avenue or whatever, but that's called a bunting. There's another one odd back here, and it's only for you people that are well endowed with this life's funds that they can afford to buy a yacht. Because if you had a yacht, this is an official flag that is flown on watercraft. And with the insignia there, that's just not something that somebody made up. That's I call it yachting, or whatever boats choose to fly, something like this. And then on the wall behind me is a jack. Now, it's not what you jack up a car with, but I was looking for something that was a little longer, like the United States ship jack or something. But this is simply just a jack. And if you would like to count the stars, it's 48 stars. 48 stars on here, indicating that this was used between 1912 and 1959. 48 stars. And where do you use a jack? Every ship that comes in from the ocean and ties up at a pier, as soon as it ties up, they lower whatever flag is up there and they fly the jack. Now, it can be in Tokyo, it can be in any other port in the world, or it could be New York, it could be Norfolk, it could be Los Angeles, wherever. But as soon as that ship comes in and docks, one of the boatswain's jobs is to lower whatever is up there, signal flags or something, and they identify this docked ship as from the United States of America. And these are sewn on stars, and it's very high quality. And it's such a good shape that I don't think it ever flew very long. But I have it, and I'm glad to have it. Now, let's move to these, my stars of the, oh, I made a pun, the stars of the show. We're going to start out and get older as we go down, and the oldest flag, of course, is on the bottom, and I'll be showing that to you. Now let's start with these flags that are laying on the table here. And I think there's 6 or 7 of them in here. And I want to start with the newest, the current flag of the United States, and point out a few things to you. This is a nylon 50-star flag. It is the flag that is the current flag in the array that I'm going to show you. And it is the longest lasting flag of all the flags that I'm going to show you, what I mean by that is it started in 1960 and is still our current flag. So now we're up to 50 plus years of flying the 50-star flag. And if we have Puerto Rico to become the 51st state, we will have to have a whole new array of 51 stars. They've already decided how it's going to be laid out. 9, 8, 9, 8, 9, 8. And that will be the new arrangement. But it hasn't happened yet, and it may not, because I understand the people in Puerto Rico don't want to pay income tax or whatever taxes they pay. I think that's what's holding it up. Now we go back to a flag here that was for 1 year in my lifetime. It happened. This is a huge flag too. It happened in the year 1959 when we brought Alaska into the state of the Union, the United States. And there are 49 stars on here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. Remember your times tables in junior high school or grade school? 7 sevens are 49. That's correct. So there's your 49-star flag. And to give the size of this thing, this is just huge. And I'm surprised. It's a beautiful flag. I'm glad to have it. Now we go back to the flag under which I lived most of my life before the 50-star flag came along. This is a 48-star flag, 6 and 8. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8 this way. 6 eighths are 48. I never knew I was going to have to remember my times table. And I'm going to start showing you how these stars are applied, because we're going to go from newer technology all the way back to hand sewing. Now, these are over top of each other, and if you put your finger here, you're also there. The stars are meshed just like that, but they are two different stars. I'm going to show you one where they cut out the star hole and it's only one, but this is double thickness here, and these are machine applied. The electricity was entered into this country in the late 1890s, so you didn't have an electric sewing machine until that time, but you had a treadle, the kind that you push with your foot and it makes it go around. And that's where most of these early flags were sewn together. Now we have the 46-star flag. This is the time in 1909 when we had, I need to get my cheater here. 46-star flags was 1908 until 1912, and it was when Oklahoma was admitted to the Union. And these are also sewn on and not double thickness. This is just the way the previous flag was. Now, we go down here to the 45-star flag, which was in vogue from 1896 until 1908, and it is also machine sewn on, and so every one of these flags has, this flag has 90 stars because there's 45 on each side. So this is the way they were put together. And notice as we go back to that one flag I showed you, always the top and the bottom are red, except for that Bennington flag that I showed you earlier. This is the 45-star flag. Now, we get a little different here, because this is rather unique. This is cut out. What they did to apply these stars is they took scissors and cut out the shape of the star and then put the star in the hole they just cut out. So this is one thickness here. This is one star. They didn't have to make double stars until they got a little later with the, but this is a 44 star flag, and I even have a newspaper article about how this was made, and there was an interesting statement in here that the kids would help their mommy sew this together. This is a homemade flag, and the kids would lay on the floor under the sewing machine and hand pump the treadle, so mom didn't have to do it. That was kind of, and that information came from this article here on our 44 star flag. Now, we go to the oldest flag that I have, and it is my pride and joy, and it came from locally. This used to hang in one of the buildings, public buildings here in Lancaster County. I do not want to divulge where it came from because it's rather confidential. But I did buy it, I paid for it, and it's legally mine, but I'm not sure the guy that sold it to me was allowed to, but, well, that's past history because I've had this for a number of years. Now, if you look at this star right here, and I turn it over, there's no star there. These are individually placed stars, and I had trouble when I got this from counting them because they're in such disarray. But if you'll notice, there is a center star, and there's one circle, and then there's another circle, and they have these sticking around the edge. So it's 38 stars, 1875. This is a very old flag, and it's my pride. It was made to be hung inside. So this is a very old flag, and I'm proud to own it, and I'll be properly folding these up when this talk is over. I have a very interesting story to wrap up this time with us today, and I hope that you see a little bit of humor in it because it has never been an official flag of the United States of America. We went from 38 stars, which is the last flag I showed you, to 40 stars because there was 2 states admitted that went from 38 to 40, and those 2 states were North Dakota and South Dakota. So you raise the question, well, wasn't they didn't do it all at once? Well, they sort of did, because what happened was Benjamin Harrison, 23rd President of the United States. You can Google it and see if I'm right. He was the fellow that signed the 2 papers that made North Dakota a separate state and South Dakota a separate state, because before that, it was Dakota Territory, and it took up the whole area of what we know as North and South Dakota. So there was a gentleman who thought he'd make a lot of money because he knew that Dakota Territory was going to become a state. And he knew that there was 38 states right now, so he printed, oh, it just irks me to say printed. He printed out 39 star flags, and he envisioned selling these all over the country, and he envisioned being successful and having a lot of money in the bank as a result of selling these 39 star flags. Well, President Harrison took the 2 applications for the statehood and he shuffled them around, and so nobody knew which was the first one to be signed. And then he signed them both at once, and it's reported, but I can't verify this, that he wrote Benjamin, and then went over to the other and wrote Benjamin, and he wrote Harrison, and he wrote Harrison, so that it appeared as though they were made at the same time. So this is not an official flag of the United States of America. It is a 39-star flag, and it's 13, 13, 13, 13, 26, 39. So it is made out of silk, and it's very frail, so therefore I cannot hold this up. It has to be framed and retained, and I just did this the other day, and I could have done a better job, but there's your 39-star flag, never an official flag of the United States of America. I hope that you enjoyed this presentation, but remember, today still we are pledging allegiance to the flag in our schools. And remember the things that you were told. Never put the flag on the ground. We don't burn the flags. We turn them over to the Boy Scouts for a flag retirement ceremony. And there are other restrictions because we do, I don't want to say we overly do it, but we love our United States flag, Old Glory and the Stars and Stripes. Thank you very much.